Former President Trump will appear in a New York City courtroom today when jury selection begins in his hush money trial. So without further ado, cue the media.
We all know what you feel and what you don't feel about this guy. How do you get a jury to ignore all of that and just look at the facts?
Yeah, jury selection is kind of going to be the whole ball game because all Trump needs is one. All Trump needs is one cultist, one dyed-in-the-wool Trump supporter to sneak into that jury, and you can hang the whole thing. He or she can hang the whole thing.
If it were Donald Johnson we were talking about, not Donald Trump, he would not be on his social media site posting. He would be in contempt in a jail cell.
Trump is going to use this courtroom and other courtrooms to come as really the centerpiece of his campaign.
Joe Concha is a Fox News contributor, and he joins us now. Joe, good morning to you. Media is going to have a field day with this, of course. But there's also that inconvenient fact that this is a very weak case that Alvin Bragg brought forward, according to all the legal experts. And the statute of limitations even expired for some of what Trump is being accused of. So how will the media balance the facts versus the feelings here?
Oh, Carly, did you say balance? There will be no balance. All right. This is all they have at this point as far as juicing ratings for their failing networks at this point. I mean, the CNN headline is so typical of the coverage. Quote, Trump's first criminal trial is a historic and solemn moment for America. No, it really isn't. If you listen to any sane and sober legal analyst that actually looks at this case, to your point, statute of limitations expired on this long ago. Jonathan Turley, who is as respected as any legal expert as there is in this business, said that this is an unprecedented attempt to revive a misdemeanor for falsifying business documents that expired years ago. If that is still the basis of Thursday's indictment, Bragg could not have raised a weaker basis to prosecute a former president. So in the end, it seems that they're bootstrapping this misdemeanor into a felony, right, to try to prosecute Trump in this case in New York, where obviously he's not the most popular person in the world. He got something like, I think, 12% of the vote in 2020, for example. But still, in the end, this is all going to be played up as if Trump committed some sort of crime that he actually has to go to jail for. But in the end, it seems that Turley, others like Andy McCarthy, are saying that this is something that most likely is not going to get very far as taking out Trump. But Trump will use this as part of his campaign that, see, the justice system has been weaponized against me. This is election interference, and this is all nonsense to take me off the campaign trail. And if you look at this objectively, that seems to be the case.
Yeah, Concha can throw me in that list of lawyers who thinks this is the worst case ever brought.
Are you going to be the legal expert?
I'm going to be the legal expert. There's zero case. It's a mislabeling problem.
It could backfire. Joe, you're right.
Here's some other headlines on the trial. The New Yorker calling it Trump's trial of the century. The New York Times says in final rally before New York trial, Trump again casts himself as political victim. And the Washington Post headline says Trump's trial strategy: deny, delay, denigrate. There's sort of like an undercurrent here that Trump really isn't getting the shaft in all these things, that somehow he's benefiting from this. Why don't they think Trump is being victimized? One, by having to go to court during the middle of his campaign on charges involving literally mislabeling, like literally mislabeling, where there was no victim. We have to remember that. I don't understand any of those headlines, Joe.
Wow. I want to see the show on Fox Nation. Todd goes to trial, and you try cases, right? Like court TV almost. That would be very interesting to see. Have you ever actually practiced law? I mean, I'm just curious. And I'm not saying that sarcastically.
No, I did practice.
Really?
Had something about to go to trial, but of course, on the verge of everything, it settles last minute, like it always does. But getting back to Trump for a second, because I will not be in that courtroom, Joe.
Oh, boy. Look, this is going to be obviously cast as you saw from those headlines. New York Times, Washington Post. Remember, the New York Times hasn't actually endorsed a Republican candidate for president since 1956. The Washington Post, in its history, has never endorsed a Republican candidate. So you're not going to get any balanced coverage here, to get back to Carly's earlier question. This is all going to be played up as if Trump is some sort of criminal, and he's going to try to delay this to go past Election Day to avoid what obviously he's guilty of. In other words, you're supposed to be innocent until proven guilty. In this case, Trump, in most of the media, will find him guilty until proven innocent, and that's just just not how the law works. So either way, despite what happened with Iran and Israel and that attack on Israel over the weekend, this will dominate coverage for the foreseeable future until another trial comes along, and that will dominate coverage. Either way, the ball, we're taking our eye off the ball, which is the incumbent president, which is Joe Biden, who is mightily struggling as far as inflation, which continues to come in hotter, crime in major American cities, and obviously the border and immigration. All of that goes away because this trial, which most people think is a sham, will take center stage.
Yeah,
Carly,
and today
Todd.
the judge is going to be asking jurors which news source, where they get their news from, whether it's the New York Times, Fox News, CNN, just proving how very political this trial can be in a jury pool where only 12% of people in Manhattan voted for Donald Trump in 2020. Joe, thank you so much for joining us. Have a great day.
I'm Steve Ducey.
I'm Brian Kilmeade.
And I'm Ainsley Earhart. And click here to subscribe to the Fox News YouTube page to catch our hottest interviews and most compelling analysis.